What was the one thing you walked away from the Steve Cohen presser and said, that stuck out to me, especially when the reaction after was, man, that didn't do anything for me for so many people. But I know you had one big reaction that really, really stood out.
Well, we know where I come from. Like MLB draft is this coming weekend, player development, minor leagues, that's all my kind of jam. And hearing Steve Cohen specifically talk about the fact that they finally opened the pitching lab. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple years, and it actually opened on the day of the press conference. So there's still, I think, some more they need to do inside of it, but it's set up, it's ready to go. And that's the kind of data that they're going to need going forward to develop pitchers. Because look, more often than not, going forward, the Mets are going to have the expectation that they're not picking high in drafts. And if that's the case, it's not as if you have your pick of the litter of the top pitching prospects in a class. So you need to find a way to make guys better. And that's what the Dodgers have done for years. And we always say the Mets want to be the East Coast Dodgers. Well, part of that is finding an arm like Emmett Sheehan and turning him from a 91 to 93 mile an hour guy to a 94 to 97 mile an hour guy. And then that instantly changes the profile. We've seen a little bit of that with Christian Scott. We've seen a tick up from Tyler Stewart with his stuff, and Blade Tidwell's been very, very good of late. So I do think they're moving in the right direction, but Cohen's commitment to player development is admirable to me, because you're looking at a guy that spent the most ever on a team in 2023 as far as payroll goes. So considering big market, wants to spend a lot of money, he has been focused on the long game since day one while also trying to win. And to me, it was just music to my ears to hear about how he wants to develop the farm system and wants to develop more pitching, because pitching's expensive. We've talked about this. Even back end pitching is expensive. Like Steve Cohen probably doesn't want to be spending $18 million on a back end starter, or he doesn't want to have to spend $40 million on a frontline starter. It'd be great if you could start to develop your own. So it might take some time with the pitching lab and the new player development system under Eric Yeagers. Like that's not, I know a lot of people have tweeted at me and tweeted in general about the player development system hasn't given us anything yet. Well, it's 6 months old, 7 months old. So it's not exactly something that happens overnight, but over the next 2-3 years, I'm hopeful that we start seeing that influx of pitching where it's, pitching in swarms, not just a guy here, a guy there.
Absolutely. It's the way to find sustainable success is how I would put it. And you nailed it, Joe. That's player development. Player development is not something that happens in 5 to 6 months. Here's the reality. It doesn't happen in 2 years. It takes years and years. And like you said, when you are drafting outside of the top 3 to 5 picks in the MLB draft, more often than not, you want to draft upside and guys with high spin rates, high velocity, talent, and then try to figure out how to develop those players.